one, so now I'm moving over to video number 2. So it's very deeply worrying, as I was saying in my other video, about the government's review of the benefit system. Oh, and the other thing they're going to do, by the way, or they're planning on doing, is that they want to force people, disabled people, people with mental health problems in particular, to either get medical treatment or therapy on condition of receiving benefits. Yes, exactly, you heard what I just said, on condition of receiving benefits. I mean, what sort of society do we live in? That's why I said in my other video, this is coming close to fascism. Work will set you free. You have to basically... So basically this is... they're forcing people to enter treatment on condition of basically receiving the money that keeps them alive. This is how evil the government is right now. It's absolutely evil. And the other issue here is that health services, and presumably it would be the NHS, I'm assuming, the National Health Service, free at the point of need. I'm assuming it will be the NHS that is providing this therapy, or I'm not sure if they will be getting the private sector involved because they love private sector, the Tories, but I'm assuming it's the NHS. Could be wrong. I mean, they might use the private sector or voluntary sector or something. But I'm assuming it's the NHS because I haven't explained, so I'm just going on that assumption. This is really, really ethically wrong. Healthcare should not be used as a weapon. This is weaponised healthcare. This is saying you get treatment or you don't get money. This is incredibly morally wrong. I mean, I'm sure this actually breaks some law somewhere, but the Tories don't follow any human rights legislation. I mean, it's got to violate the United Nations rights of people with disabilities, which the Tories clearly don't follow. I mean, many people were against forcing people to be vaccinated, weren't they? There was a great debate about should people be forced to be vaccinated. There was a great debate about that. And one of the main arguments against forcing people to be vaccinated was that it would violate their bodily autonomy. I suppose you could argue that in very exceptional circumstances, maybe if smallpox came back, there might be grounds for overriding that, potentially. But as it stands, the majority argument is that it violates someone's bodily autonomy, if they're forced to be vaccinated, because healthcare should not be forced on someone. People have a right not to... I mean, with vaccination, one of the counter-arguments to that is obviously that, it's more of an individual because it affects disease transmission, it's like a social thing, and so on and so forth. Personally, I do think that it is ethically and morally responsible for someone to get vaccinated. People should be vaccinated, but I am on the fence about whether or not it should be compulsory because I can see both sides. But anyway, all I'm saying is that, and I can understand the argument that, it goes against their bodily autonomy and stuff like that, so I'm not going to get into a debate about that. Just suffice to say that I'm on the fence about that, and I can see both sides. So what am I trying to say? So what I'm trying to say is that was the majority argument. It goes against their autonomy. And as with vaccination, where it's a bit more kind of, potentially you could say a grey area in some cases, because it's to do with disease control, is even more stark, morally, when it comes to what the Tories are trying to do with forcing people to have therapy. You should not weaponise healthcare. There should not be fear attached to it. It breaks down trust. It violates trust. It violates trust. I don't, for example, if you take smoking, for example, smoking is bad for you, it's not healthy. But, and people need to be educated about why they shouldn't smoke and stuff, and needs to be a lot more education and so on. And also, yeah, and I think that, basically. But you wouldn't, or you shouldn't, it would be wrong, I think, for a government to force a smoker to go and have, to force a smoker, for example, to have treatment to cut their addiction or whatever. That would be morally wrong. They can persuade and encourage, but it's not a good job of government to force someone to do that. That is fascist, arguably, or it borders on fascism, because it's authoritarian and it's not a good job of a government to do that. Trying to say. So yeah, I guess it's just completely wrong. But I mean, to say that someone needs to get treatment on condition of receiving money, it's just awful. And I'm wondering, like, what healthcare provider is actually going to provide this treatment. Like, would all the good ones leave in droves because it'll go against their conscience? Maybe it'll just leave the not very nice clinicians who tend to be Tories. It might leave them. Ones who already don't really have empathy, and maybe they will enjoy being a little bit sadistic. You encourage all the psychopaths, because it seems to be a very psychopathic thing. And what about people who just can't get better? Because lots of people with mental ill health are not going to get cured by therapy. It might help them to manage their symptoms, but a lot of them aren't going to get cured. And if there's punishment attached to it, if this is something that isn't actually a choice, like people are supposed to go into therapy out of their own free will, it's a choice, no one should be forced into therapy, it's going to break down the trust, and it actually could make it even harder for them to make progress, because people, it's absolutely awful. Someone with a mental health problem is now going to associate therapy with punishment, so this is going to be like a negative reinforcement cycle, which means that they'll probably never ever again want to voluntarily go into therapy, no matter how critical their situation, because it's going to be tarnished forever now with it's going to be associated with punishment. This is very powerful psychological stuff. This is going to traumatise people. It's almost implying that it's ableist as hell. It's also gaslighting them, because Hunt said that people have a feeling that they can't work. It's not a feeling, it's a fact. If someone is basically telling a disabled person that what they know about themselves is wrong, and not just what they're saying, but like all the reports that have been done for them, or all the reports that they've had done by like psychologists or other people, it's like saying that none of this is believed, that it's all wrong. It's like basically gaslighting them. And there seems to be this idea that some disabled people might be able to work from home. Like this idea that, because working is now flexible, that they can work from home. But big reveal, your disability does not disappear just because you're at home. It's like, if you take me, for example, I can't work even from home. Like, it's like, how is that going to work? I attend some voluntary groups now and again online. It's hit and miss whether or not I can attend. I often miss them or turn up very, very late, and I often have to leave very, very early. At most I can manage about half an hour every other week. So how is that going to work? I can't work, you know what I mean? And if they were to take away my money, it wouldn't actually change that fact. All that happened was, I can't work and I have no money. Because no matter what they do, it's not going to change the fact I can't work. So I'm basically screwed, If that, yeah. And the other thing that many like Tories and people like that often don't understand is that they don't understand the nature of disability, and how just because someone can do something some of the time, me just doing this YouTube video will probably make some Tories say that because I could do this, I could work. I'm not joking, that's what some Tories actually think. They're like really ignorant. Like me doing a YouTube video, she does a YouTube video, she can work. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, or, because I can knit. Because I sometimes do a bit of knitting. I mean, I'm currently knitting an owl. It's going to take me weeks for me to accomplish it because I can only do a really tiny amount every day. I don't think I'm going to be able to do any today. So even my hobbies take forever to complete. And then some people use the fact that I'm often on Twitter, and they say, oh, well, you're often on Twitter. Yeah, because I'm disabled, and because Twitter helps relieve my anxiety, and also because I struggle to start and initiate tasks, and with autism you can end up getting obsessed with things and hyper-focusing on things, even things that aren't actually productive and that's not actually in my control, so fuck off. Yeah, they don't get it, you know. It's because they're like really disability literate, or they even will say to someone, oh, you're walking down the street so you can get a job. Or you can wash up, therefore you can clean the bathroom, as that ignorant social worker said. So this is just going to encourage this gaslighting as well, and it's going to encourage horrible social workers and other sadistic people and people who aren't very nice to gaslight, because the government's gaslighting is just going to encourage a whole climate of gaslighting. So you can see where this is going to lead. Lots of disabled people are going to get very unwell, not if they aren't already, but they're going to basically, you're going to see an increase in suicide rates going up, either active suicide or suicide by omission, by which I mean suicide via neglect, like someone not bothering to look after themselves, so they end up essentially dying that way because, you know, particularly if their benefits are cut and they can't eat, and if you're an autistic person who might rely on a very narrow suite of foods, as lots of autistic people do, and, you know, and they can't access those because their benefits have been taken, that again might mean that they die by omission, like passive suicide. Yeah, it's really scary. So yeah, it makes my blood boil. So do let me know what you think. But hopefully, with any luck, the Tories will get booted out in the next election. So thank you for watching.